Welcome back to the Cyber Resilience Brief, a Safe Breach podcast. We're deep into our October series for Cybersecurity Month 2025, which is covering true cyber readiness. I'm your host, Tova Dvorin, and today, as usual, I'm joined by my co host and senior sales engineer, Adrian Culley, for another go round at cybersecurity's hottest topics in 15 minutes or less. Adrian, last time we covered adversarial exposure validation, or AEV, which helps us focus on the most relevant threats. Today, we're going to take that a step further with continuous automated red teaming. What can you tell us about that?
It's again a great topic, Tova, and this is where we really start to embed proactive validation in the very fabric of an organization's security operations. It's not magic dust to be scattered over at the end. It's a golden thread to be woven through the organization's security operations. We've established that annual penetration tests are insufficient, and even targeted AEV campaigns, while excellent, are still often run periodically.
Right. Adversaries don't take a smoking break between your assessments, nor do they know your schedule, and neither do your security validation take breaks either. What exactly does continuous automated red teaming mean? What does it entail, and how is that different from traditional red team engagements?
So, a traditional red team engagement is typically a time boxed exercise. A team of ethical hackers is given a specific scope and a limited time frame, say 2 weeks or a month, to find a path to a predefined objective, like exfiltrating data or gaining domain admin. It's intense, it's valuable, but it's a sprint.
Right, and once that sprint is over, the red team delivers a report and relays it to the blue team. I guess we could call this a relay race more than anything else. Because then the blue team takes up that report and starts remediating, and then the process starts over again. But what happens if a new vulnerability or misconfiguration emerges in between those sprints, the day after the red team leaves?
Exactly, that's the critical gap. The insights gained from a traditional red team engagement have a shelf life. As soon as the environment changes, back to security posture being dynamic, or new threats emerge, the findings can become stale. Continuous automated red teaming, or CART, aims to eliminate that shelf life.
So the continuous aspect is obviously key here. It's in the name. How does a red team take that expiration date off of their reports and become truly continuous without overwhelming the organization, breaking things, or introducing too many spreadsheets?
This is where the evolution of BAS and AEV becomes critical. CART leverages automated breach and attack simulation platforms to mimic the TTPs of a human red team, but in a safe, automated, and continuous manner. It is about operationalizing that red team mindset 24/7, 365 days a year.
Just like the adversaries working around the clock. So it's not a human red team literally working continuously, but rather the intelligence and methodology of a red team automated through a platform.
Absolutely. We're seeking to reverse the adversary advantage, but before we can reverse the adversary advantage, we need to match the adversary advantage. If we look at hacking collectives such as the COM, under which is Scattered Lapsus, Scattered Spider, Shiny Hunters, Red November, amongst many others. The reason these collectives are emerging, or one of the key reasons these electives are emerging, is the ability to cross fertilize, to share knowledge, skills, experience, TTPs, attack techniques. Well, we need to harness all of that as well. We need to be at least matching the amount of diligence the threat actors are putting into their process in our process. I should mention at this point that continuous and automated are not congruent, and this gets confused all the time. You can have both together, but they're different things. They're certainly not synonyms for each other. Continuous has many levels. It doesn't just mean something always running. It means continuous updates, continuous threat intelligence feed, continuous intelligence related to exploit techniques, attack code. Automation means something that's just machine driven and running. So imagine the human red team's arsenal of attack simulations, all the ways they try to bypass controls, move laterally, or exfiltrate data. CART takes that playbook and automates it, running these simulations constantly, day and night, against your entire environment.
It's a little off topic, but eventually, Adrian, we should cover not just the human factor in attacks, but the human factor in keeping your systems updated, right? Because it's not just continuously running and automating those playbooks for you. There has to be someone actually validating that information is going through.
The key word here is augmentation. CART, it always comes back to the human factor, and where CART works best is where it's augmenting a human red team. Not replacing, but augmenting. Now, the automation's really important, but we're augmenting the human team.
Thank you for clarifying that. It's a very important point, and it doesn't just apply here, by the way. It applies in all uses of AI. All of that information running at that pace must generate just absolute gigaquads of data. How does an organization manage all that data?
Well, that's where the smart part comes in. CART platforms integrate with threat intelligence and your existing security controls. They don't just run all attacks, they prioritize and run the most relevant attacks based on the AEV principles we discussed last week. They provide immediate actionable feedback when a control fails or a new exposure is identified.
Right, dovetailing back into AV for a moment, all of this is about making sure that it's not just finding problems, it's finding and prioritizing the ways to fix them. So, can you give us a real world scenario where CART would shine?
Think about a security operations center as SOC that's just deployed a new EDR solution. A traditional red team might test it once. With CART, that EDR is continuously tested against hundreds of thousands of known adversary TTPs. For example, a specific technique for bypassing process injection or a new way to evade detection. It's If a new EDR rule or configuration is pushed out, CART immediately validates its effectiveness against a relevant library of attacks. If that rule breaks something or fails to detect something critical, the SOC gets an alert instantly, not days or weeks later.
Right, so this goes back to proactive security and making sure that you always are on point with your security controls, always optimizing, always tuning now before the breach happens.
So, security posture is, again, is such a critical key topic. It means your security posture is always adapting, always being validated. It's like having an eternal offensive cybersecurity expert constantly poking and prodding your defenses, but in a safe and non disruptive way. Back to how we do, per the DORA Act for financial entities, testing of critical live production assets. It dramatically reduces the time to detect and remediate security control gaps, often from weeks to minutes.
The implications for security teams are staggering and empowers them to be truly proactive. Makes me wonder why we haven't heard more about CART and why it's not yet a must have. Because as far as what we're speaking about, this should be a must have for a security team of any size. Am I right?
So the evolution of this, Tova, and you are right, it's going through the process of moving from nice to have to mandatory, from a reactive firefighting mode to a strategic data driven optimization mode. CART provides quantitative evidence of your security control efficacy, which is a gold dust for reporting to the board, for compliance, and for justifying security investments. It means you always know your true risk posture against active threats.
So instead of guessing or hoping your security works, you validate that your security is working and you're validating it continuously. It's not just awareness, it's readiness and it's operational confidence.
Absolutely. And that continuous feedback loop is what drives true cyber resilience. This October, while people are focused on basic cyber hygiene, the most resilient, mature organizations are running CART to ensure their entire security ecosystem is always being hardened and toughened against the latest and greatest threats.
So if you're listening and you're considering CART, consider it as a deep clean, not just as a surface clean. It's worth investing in. Powerful stuff, Adrian. Thank you. And this brings us to our final episode in this special series. Next time, we're going to wrap it all up, synthesizing BAS, AEV, and CART. By the way, if I just mentioned that and you don't know what those are, go back and listen to our episodes recently about this topic and stay tuned for more. And we're going to synthesize those into a unified strategy for building enduring cyber resilience, no matter what industry you're in or where you're based.
Looking forward to it, Tova. All these pieces fit together to truly make every month Cybersecurity Month.
Perfect, Adrian. The Cyber Resilience Brief is a Safe Breach podcast. It's produced by Tova Dvorin and executive produced by Adrian Culley. Sound design provided by Adobe Podcasts. Distribution provided by Podbean and extra support and love from the Safe Breach team. For more information on how adversarial exposure validation through SafeBreach can protect you and your business, no matter where you reside or what industry you're in, please visit us at www.safebreach.com.